What up, Reg?
Hi. Oh.
What's up, folks? Reginald Adams here, downtown Houston, Texas, checking in from the RCA studios. Like to introduce the artists working on our latest project. First and foremost, we got to my left,
Davian Baylor.
Joshua Bennett.
Avion Love.
Matthew Jean-Baptiste.
West Sunset.
and we are here creating a wonderful new public art mural for the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work in the midst of COVID-19, the coronavirus, AKA that Rona. We're all just trying to make sense of every day as it changes and evolves, maintaining some sense of normalcy in this incredibly chaotic, unsettling, uncertain world that we're now living in. One of the commitments that we made to each other was that we would continue working until we're literally forced to stop. We're going to continue creating. I think that's one way we can find our own sense of normalcy. Keeping in that momentum of trying to do something normal. I think yesterday we all took on what some may consider a bit irresponsible, or maybe it was an act of civil disobedience, as there is currently a stay-at-home kind of order that's been exercised by the city and the county and essentially the entire world. Right now, the whole world's on lockdown. And so yesterday we decided to do something different. And some may see that as an act of irresponsibility, but I think we all enjoyed what happened. And Joshua Bennett, I'd love to pick on you. What happened yesterday and why were you there?
So yesterday we went to the beach and we created art like we always do. And the weather was perfect and there was very few people there because of the public recommendations. And we managed to create a beautiful sand mandala in short time and enjoyed our day for the most part. It was like a normal day.
And knowing that you should have been at home, knowing that you should have been on lockdown, knowing you should have been stuck in front of your TV watching this craziness, why did you choose to go to the beach and play on the sand and have fun and be in the sunlight? Why did you do that, Josh?
I've always been had a problem with authority, so I mean, to do something that that I wasn't supposed to is probably just in my nature, so I'll admit to that. But otherwise, I mean, I went to go have fun in the sand and create the mandala. That was the ultimate goal, and we were successful, and everything was fine. There wasn't any kind of resistance in any way. We didn't get stopped or harassed or frowned at. So I mean.
So the moral of your story would be to anyone out there watching, listening,
is just use your best judgment. I mean, if you feel safe enough to go take a run to the park, then I wouldn't put a limit on what you do. Just be responsible as you can. I mean, if you're already sick, don't go running around to the, to the public. But if you're not sick, just be careful and live your life. That's all I can say. I mean, just because the financial world has stopped doesn't mean that your life has to. That's about the sum of what I have to say about that.
I think yesterday was cool too. I mean, that was my first, was that your first time doing it?
No.
Oh, okay, that was my first time doing it. So when Reg asked us, did we want to do it, intuitively it felt natural to say, yeah, I want to go do it. And I totally ignored all of the responsibility I should kick into place as far as COVID-19. But it never took away from the fact that I know that we're supposed to be precautious. I mean, we talk about it every day. But I didn't realize the effect that we would get out of it until after it was done. So while we were creating the mandala on the beach, it felt refreshing. But at the end, after the entire design was panned out and everybody had done their part, to walk the labyrinth and stand in the center with everybody standing around, it felt refreshing. Not to forget that we're on a beach. A beach is already a refreshing component of the earth. Yes, it was a cleansing. So when we got back, a lot of people were saying they felt tired. I felt like we had been washed, and I felt renewed today, in a way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't regret doing it at all. You know.
What was it? Did you tell anybody that you went yesterday?
Of course, I talked to a few people, and I posted it on Instagram. And
what was the feedback?
Beautiful. People loved it. Like no feedback saying that we shouldn't have done it or we shouldn't have been at.
Let me ask you: do you think that if you hadn't put an image with the story that you just went to the beach, you'd have been like, "Hey, I went to the beach." How do you think people responded to that
crazy?
versus?
Are you crazy?
Versus, I went to. This is what I did when I went.
Yeah, exactly. People will have something to say about it in a negative connotation, but you know, I think putting the image with it, it really blinded that. You know, it took away from the fact that COVID-19 is out here and moving around. So.
So you didn't get any negative feedback?
I did. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, you're really outside, like doing stuff," and those are the people that are inside, that have been inside for 3 days, not coming like totally in fear and listening to everything that the media is putting out. So I don't regret it at all. I would go do it again today, just like Josh said, and Bimbo Samson says all the time. You know, we just got to be responsible.
I think that what we did yesterday, maybe like you said, some people are blind to it. I feel like it may have opened up an outlet for some people to see like, okay, hey, we're responsible. You can still be responsible during this time and still do what you need to do. So like we went out, we cleansed and we refreshed and we're still okay. So people seeing that are like, oh wow, okay, so it's okay to get done what you still need to do and be mindful that there is something out there.
Right. So what if more people did that? Would that then compromise? Like I'm playing, you know, devil's advocate. So if groups of people said, hey, you know what, man, actually, I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna take 3 or 4 of my close friends or my family. If everyone did that, well, then what, right?
And it was 50 groups of
pockets of people
doing that.
Right?
I don't know. Maybe if they're making labyrinths, it's okay.
That's the power of the code that shields you.
Huh?
The power of the code shields you.
You know, but I would tell you what was crazy is in the midst of, and I was just reflecting this morning on like the timing of things. It was 20 years ago that we were talking about beards because Josh shaved his beard. And I acted like I didn't know. I was like, man, we're not allowed any strangers and any newcomers. You look new around these parts. But anyway, I was teasing with him. So we talked about beards, and then the conversation was, you know, Reginald, have you ever had a beard? And I was like, yeah. And I went back to look at pictures, and I remember the time period in which I wore a full beard was around the time that I went to Africa for the first time, which was at the cusp of 2019, 2000. If y'all remember this, do y'all remember this, folks? Y2K. Do you all remember Y2K when the entire world thought all the computers and all the technology and the ATM machines and the gas pumps, everything was gonna stop working? Anybody remember this? Well, at that time, Rhonda and I had decided that we were going to go to where we thought, this was our ignorance, where it would have the least effect on society, and that was Africa. And that was us thinking that Africa was so behind in technology that if Y2K hit, it wouldn't have a negative impact there. That was our belief system. And so much so that we plotted this trip according to this belief. And so the really crazy irony as the very project that afforded us the chance to take that trip to Africa was this mural 20 years ago commissioned by Dean Ira Colby. And at that time they were calling themselves the Graduate School of Social Work, but that commission enabled us to take that trip. And what I learned in now reflection of that global hysteria and fear is that you gotta keep living. 20 years later, same shit. We gotta keep living. Different. You gotta keep doing what you're doing. And I think if there's a message that I got out of yesterday, in the midst of a stay-at-home order and all of the fear that I feel that's permeating in our society, the thing is you can't stop living. You have to set your own new norm. You have to create your own norm. And yes, yesterday was an act of social disobedience, because I know a lot of people would be like, man, what were you doing at the beach? But that was my sanity. And we didn't expose it. We were around the same people that we were around, right? We weren't like we didn't volunteer and got some more people to help us out. But I think I needed that experience to just remind me that you have to create your own norm, and you have to be willing to step outside of the fear factor to continue living your life and some sense of groundedness and peace. Did anybody get any negative feedback from what they posted?
I mean, me personally, yesterday, I want to start by saying, like, yesterday was very productive, and I enjoyed my time, being with all of you. And yesterday alone was the day that I needed to actually making me believe that, we have a second chance to start this all over again. Because having a group of people that, the government saying to stay inside, but us, all of us chose to go outside and create something that we felt that worth being outside. To me, in my mind, I'm like, all the world gonna start thinking that way. Let's go outside and let's start this all over again. It made me feel like, I should be doing this more often. Like, as an artist, this is pretty much what we live for. We live for a moment like this, where there is no hope, and we found hope to the chaos. So I'm saying this to say, I'm not encouraging anybody to break the government rules to go outside and act a fool, but if you have anything productive to project in this new society that we believe in, we believe that may start all over again. The time is now, because I feel like if you stay indoors for the rest of your life, it means like whatever you're doing gonna have to be indoor, and who's gonna see it? Who's gonna be inspired by it? I see people been using live to make their point get across. It's only gonna do so much for now. Cause what about people from other countries that don't have internet to actually tune in to what you're doing live? But if you're outside creating something and broadcast that for like years to come, you're gonna inspire the world where whatever you're creating or whatever you feel like worth creating outside in this time of chaos, 100 years from now, we may be the only group of artists that to ever do it. So, and my mom saying this to say, go out there, do something productive, do something very inspiring that when this is all gone, you can actually step back and say, I was living in fear, but I made the most out of it. And I think yesterday, as a group of artists, we did that. And I enjoyed every single moment of it. and I would do it again if I had a chance to. So
Well, I think as long as we keep living, we'll have that chance to do that again.
so keep living inside. It's not gonna do any good. So
I mean, and I think to that comment right there, how long do you know, like we're told we live in the land of the free, but we can't go outside. We can't go, I like to travel. I can't go anywhere right now. I'm talking to clients in places where I had projects and work and business, and we can't even plan for rescheduling, right? My client was just, she's like, hey, I know things are crazy there like they are here. When do you think you may come? And I'm like, I can't even begin to tell you when I think. And so as far as freedom, there is one thing that we do have control over, and that is our own state of mind, right? And what I can attest to as an artist that this has helped me is give me something to focus on other than that craziness.
I want to jump into it quickly, and I don't want us to lose a vital point in all of this, and that is the fact that yes, it is expressed that it looks like a social irresponsibility to have gone out yesterday, but this was my mindset all from the beginning. And that I believe those that are watching us should also understand this, that we're not saying that we're irresponsible. No, we just, that's, I want to believe that's just a play, or rather a lighter, mindset towards it. But this is the serious mindset about it. We have already said this when we started this broadcast, if you look back from some of the stuff that was recorded, that as artists, we find ourselves as socially responsible to do what we're doing, not just because they're going to give us money in it, but that we are recording time, particularly from what Reg said. This project was done 20 years ago to the same university, and it's been redone now. And this time that it's redone is actually peculiar to the time, for the fact that it is very functional to what we're talking about and what is actually happening in the entire world. So as artists, we are not just creatives, we are social commentators, and we are also visual journalists. And that was actually behind the mindset of us going out yesterday. So we went out not to catch fun, because if you see some of the video recording, you will find out that it's not just because we want to catch fun. I mean, every one of us has done
they see you.
No, we're not going there to record selfie. We're actually going there.
Don't we get records himself?
No, we did, and that's just part of it. But particularly, this is what I see about it. Like, if you, the comments that we made yesterday while we were talking, and the fact that this just says that, talk about the respect for the people that are already dead, from this culture. The fact that whatever time that you live to impact your world, live to do what you love to do, so that when you're gone, people can actually think about you from what you are able to do. So we did the Mandela, as a spiritual rebirth, as a way of writing, something in the sand of time. I know now, if anybody goes back there will be no sign of anything done there, no trace, because the sea would have washed it away. And that's the way everybody that comes to the earth. Sometimes you leave and then you die and then you're gone. Some people were caught away by this virus. Maybe they didn't plan that they were going to die. Nobody plans that they're going to die at the time they died. But for what it is, their life, they came to life, they lived, so they recorded in the sand of time too, and then washed away well. But so as artists, we do this so that we impress in our world. We record our time, we record this time, and that's what we're doing. Not just because we're not trying to disobey the government authority. No, we're not deviants. We're responsible creatives, and that's what we went to do yesterday.
That's a solid point.
And I want to touch on that. Yesterday, being out there meant that was our way of praying for the one that we already lost. And if nobody else right now doing it, I think as artists, as creatives, I think that's our job to actually acknowledge those souls, those people that lost to this pandemic. And I feel like people right now living in fear. I want to say, and at the same time, I know the doctors out there doing their best.
Yeah, taking the
I want to
risk.
say, like, we're the bravest that I've seen so far to step out and do something collectively when everybody's saying 6 feet apart, 6 feet away, and we still came outside and did something collectively as if there was nothing going on. Because yesterday while we were doing it, nobody was thinking about, like, you're too close to me. We were just enjoying our moment as it was the last nail to the coffin. So,
It's an interesting analogy to just use the last nail to the coffin.
Yeah.
But spinning off that right there, what happens if you are told that you only have so much time to live? What happens if you are given a finite window to live because of some diagnosis, whether that's COVID-19 or just life, because we don't know. None of us are ever guaranteed that time that we take for granted often. And how would you live your life differently if you knew that there was an infinite or a finite window to live? What would you do differently? And I think for me yesterday, it was that. It was live your life as if you don't know when it's gonna end responsibly. So I don't feel like anybody was put at threat yesterday. We were around each other, the same people that we've been around for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks since this is all kind of unfolded. Those are the same people that we were around. And yet the results or the outcome or the benefits of going out to the ocean, hearing the soundtrack of Mother Nature, the waves crashing on the sea, feeling that dampness under my feet, digging into the earth, creating something entirely new. It had not been thought out. It was very extemporaneous. Everybody had a part to play. And it was beautiful, absolutely stunning. And that's what you'll see in the imagery. This is what was able to be created in the midst of fear. And I think as artists, that's a responsibility that we carry, and that is we should be messengers of hope. We can be. We can be messengers of hope in the midst of chaos and calamity in some cases. And so that's what yesterday meant to me, was just a reminder that you cannot stop living. No matter what the authorities or what the rules are, you cannot stop living. Be responsible, be respectful of others and their space and their own desire to live how they choose, but at the same time, keep creating. So with that, this is Reginald Adams and the team signing off from downtown Houston, Texas, planet Earth. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.